I want every single celebrity in Hollywood, every single person in DC, in think tanks, in the academic elite, in the financial elite, who looked the other way, or who partook, to face the maximum penalty. This is wicked. Well, the Epstein Files have been released. At least 20,000 or so emails were told. Epstein's circle was wide-reaching, from a former president of Harvard to a sitting Democratic congresswoman from the Virgin Islands.
Jeffrey Epstein was texting with congressional delegate Stacey Plaskett while she was sitting in a congressional hearing with President Trump's former lawyer Michael Cohen in 2019.
To popular philosopher Noam Chomsky. A lot of us want justice for the victims, and we want to know exactly who is looking the other way for rape, abuse of children. And my concern is that regular people like you and me will be further divided. My concern is that the elites who are rapists and pedophiles will get away with this, while normal people like you and me will be further divided and at each other's throats. In the bickering back and forth between ourselves, these people might get away with it. If the guy is on our side and it turns out they were involved in awful things, we just won't believe it. Or he was on your side, but I'm going to tear you down and think you're defending pedophilia. But listen, here is a major point of agreement between, I think, decent people, whatever their political beliefs are, all political. Look, if you think pedophilia and rape is wrong, it's evil, it's wicked, it should never be tolerated in society. That's a major point of agreement. There are people right now who don't think anything is wrong. They don't think anything is immoral or evil. Here's the reality of the situation. The news, influencers, social media commentators are going to be talking about this and arguing about this for months. Commentators don't do this for justice. They do it for clicks. They do it for views. They do it for money. Politicians aren't going to be talking about this because they want justice and they care about the victims and they want a clean house. They're going to be doing this left and right for power. Word of advice, here's what to look out for. Our country is so divided, not just left versus right, but many subgroups arguing amongst themselves within the left and the right. Look for a lot of whataboutism over the next few weeks. Yeah, our woman over here did this, but what about yours? And the reality is both sides, and there's multiple sides, are acting in bad faith. They think the other side is acting in bad faith. I don't actually think most of the politicians care about the victims. But I think that Republican voters and Democratic voters, I think a lot of us do. I think a lot of atheists and a lot of Christians all care about the terrible things that are happening. But we're so divided that what's going to happen is when you accuse my guy of it, I'm going to say, I don't believe it. Because you don't care about the guy on your side. What's going to happen is when you say about something on quote unquote my side, this guy over here did this, I'm not going to believe it or care because I don't think that you care about the guy or girl on your side who's a rapist or a pedophile. And you're already seeing this take place. Another thing to look out for is a lot of shifting standards of evidence. What could easily happen is not justice, but a mob. We're already so divided, we're walking towards social instability, and this could be another stick in the fire. But the evidence implicating the guy on your side isn't as thorough, isn't as rigorous. Those standards are lesser than the evidence convicting the guy, implicating the guy on my side. And I'm not willing to accept the evidence against my guy. It's a much higher standard of evidence. But your guy, if his name is mentioned, it's guilt. The accusation is as good as guilty. I'm concerned that people who knew Epstein, and that apparently was everybody in the elite class, knew him. Noam Chomsky? But not all of these people probably are pedophiles and rapists. Some of these people were probably just put in contact with them, weren't aware of how bad things were. Some of their lives could be ruined. Innocent people's lives could be ruined simply because they knew Epstein or were in an email chain with him. So my basic advice for the holidays is this: if this gets brought up, even in social discourse, make the evidence, the standard of evidence that you're willing to throw somebody under the bus as a pedophile or rapist, fair. The same as the standard of evidence for your guy or girl. Remember, the accusation isn't guilt. That's what justice is for. That's what the justice system ideally should be doing. And at rock bottom, if you're talking to someone on the left or the right, I hope you can just both agree that rape and pedophilia are evil. By the way, some people today think that there is no objective reality to morality. This is why I say that's a bad idea. There are literally people in this world who are trying to push pedophilia. Leave yourself some ground to leave a foot on, to stand and say that's evil. Don't you dare let this happen to our society where this is normalized. But most people, I think normal people left and right, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, whatever, politically don't care, feel that these things are wrong. They're just going to disagree about who's guilty of it. So at that base level, understand if you can that there's a good motivation in that Republican uncle at the Thanksgiving table and that liberal aunt at the Thanksgiving table. Not everybody's got good motives, but some of them really do. They are angry about injustice, and they're just not sure how to apply that standard of justice. If you guys can both agree that this is evil, and just be careful about who is accused and what standard of evidence you use, that at least hopefully will be something you guys can connect on. I want every single celebrity in Hollywood, every single person in DC, in think tanks, in the academic elite, in the financial elite, who looked the other way, or who partook, to face the maximum penalty. This is wicked. But we already know Harvey Weinstein's assistant, his personal assistant, is still working for Disney on a very left-leaning ideological show. So please be careful about the double standard of evidence. Try to see the good motivation with the people you disagree with on this, if there is a good motivation. Otherwise, the wicked people in the elite classes are going to get away with it, and we're the ones who are going to pay for it with loss of friendships, family, and just further division. But don't forget, there is always hope. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you know your life really, truly matters. Don't forget that. As always, thanks for watching. God bless.